Grayson Regal, MSW PCC. Deborah's energetic workshops and speaking programs are in high demand with North American Jewish Organization. Please welcome Deborah Grayson Regal.
I want to let you in on a little secret of the difference between storytelling and strategic storytelling. Strategic storytelling at its best is an exchange of stories. Right? In your partnership, you didn't just one person tell a story and the other person just sat there and nodded. Each person had the opportunity to share a little bit of insight of something that happened to them, something that was meaningful to somebody in their life, and there was an exchange of stories as well. So element one of a strategic story is about preparation. Element two is organization. And element three is passion. The first part of a strategic story is knowing your goal. And you'll see some questions there that start with the letters A, B, and C. A stands for affective, B stands for behavioral, and C stands for cognitive. And I'm going to break this down into something that's much easier, much simpler than that. The first question that we want to ask in preparing a story is, how is it that I want my listeners to feel? If there is not a call to action, they're not going to do what it is you have in your head and your heart that you want them to do. The next thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to know your organization. What do we do? Who do we help? What makes us different or special? How does every gift of time or money help? And why do I care about this organization? That's the personal connection. The second part is about getting organized. The first thing you're going to pick is a protagonist, someone that your listeners would care about. The second P is somebody with a problem. And just by nature of the people, the protagonists that you chose, you already started to set up that there was a problem there. This is a combination of real practical problems and real emotional challenges as well. And you're going to want to make sure that there is some emotional hook that your protagonist is facing in order to tell the story. And remember, when all else fails, the protagonist can be you. One place that you can start your story is in a place and time. So that's why I have a clock here. You can decide to tell the story of a Holocaust survivor starting in the year 1947, or you can tell that story starting in the year 2011. Okay? Somebody who has to make a decision. You could tell that story from the time they were born or from the time they realized that they had a decision to make. But one of the things you're going to need to decide is, do I want to talk about a particular time when the protagonist was facing the problem? So that's one place you could start. Another place you could start is a place where the protagonist had the problem. One place that you can start is where you started to notice some benefits. So you can start at the moment when the story started to turn around. Okay? Here's another place you could start, at one or another extreme points of view. You're going to want to start your story at the point of view where your listener is. And then the fourth P is the point. Your organization should be the point. If you want people to give more now, do more now, get more involved now, it has to be about your organization. Remember that B in behavioral, what is it you want people to do? You want them to do something related to your organization. And so when you put it all together, this is what it looks like. Who is your story about, your protagonist? What problem did they face? Where is your story going to start? A place in time, a place in the world. The first place that you notice benefits starting to happen. Cause and effect, one extreme point of view, or any place, but just decide. How did your organization help solve the problem? And then finally, the all-important call to action, what is it that you want your listener to do now? And any story that we tell has three elements. It has the words that we use in our story, it has the way in which we use our voice, and the way in which we use our body. And here's what researchers found. They found that the part that is the least memorable at 7% is the what you say. No matter how brilliantly strategic it is, people are not going to remember the entire content of what you said. They're barely going to remember the content. They're going to remember how they felt with you much more than they're going to remember the content of what you said. You're going to want to speak with animation, with passion, with changes in pitch, and making sure that the tone of your voice matches the content of what you say. And when you're talking to somebody, even if it's over the phone, I know that in my office I have a headset and I'm walking around my office when I'm talking with people. You want to make sure that your arms are not crossed. I'm so happy that we're finally getting to meet with each other. You want to make sure that your eye contact is warm and steady without having a stare down, right? And you want to make sure that you are gesturing to them with open palms that say, I'm open to you and I'm open to building a relationship with you, as opposed to, let me tell you why you need to get more involved in our organization, which I know is really, really inviting, right? To have somebody accusing you like this. You haven't been involved, and let me tell you the consequences. As opposed to, let's have a conversation about what you're interested in and how our organization could be a match for what you really care about. Words that come from the heart enter the heart. Even if you don't know everything it is that your organization does, every element of who they serve, if you are communicating from the heart, it will enter into somebody's heart. And people make their decisions from an emotional place before they justify it with all kinds of logic. And if you can help them drive a behavioral decision because you have come from an emotional place, you will benefit, your community will benefit, and certainly your organization will as well. But the most important part is to make sure that your listener knows what benefit there is for them.